Hello my friends, so it's been a lovely day and it's still light, so I'm making the most of the light in the conservatory, and I wanted to have a natter about self-watering pots and my experience with them. So I've got 3 types here and one type is my type. So first of all I'm going to show you this one. Now this plant is a Venus flytrap, and of course it's in carnivorous plant compost. Don't know what it is, don't care, I just bought it and it's that, so that's what it is. Now these can never ever be allowed to dry out. If they dry out they die, it's quite simple. So these pots with indicators are absolutely brilliant, because as soon as that gets anywhere that you cannot see it, it's panic stations. You need to be putting water in there. That is totally full all the time. I have another which is a different one, a pitcher plant, and that drinks even more than this, and sometimes it'll just drop to the minimum overnight really. And if I didn't have these indicators in, I wouldn't know and it would just die. So these self-watering pots are the best because of the indicator and because of the convenience. Let me just show you. This little insert comes out, so you can see if maybe you're unlucky enough to get a faulty indicator and it's blocked up or whatever, so you can lift it up and see what you've got in the bottom. So yeah, I really like these very much. The next one is this type. I'm going to put some water in this actually because it's dry, and this is in semi-hydro, so I'm just going to go ahead and water that. Now I do like these pots, but they have one drawback. You may have noticed that it has tape all around the bottom and just a little window. Now the reason that it's got that around it is because algae basically. So once the sun shines on the water, it grows algae which is green and it just looks nasty. But other than that, these pots are great. So you have a little wick, which is like a piece of string. Fun fact, you don't need to use that string. You can use anything polyester, but avoid cotton because it can rot over time and then you're stuffed. So one tip that I use is old microfiber cloths, old dishcloths. Look at the colour of that, as if you're going to use that as a dishcloth. But I'm not going to throw it away, I'm going to use it as a wick in one of my self-watering pots. So these pots are particularly good for semi-hydroponics, which is growing your plants in something other than compost soil. It's just another way to grow your plants. So these pots, they work with either semi-hydro or just normal compost, normal soil. It's fine too. And this one at the back. Let me just move my banana. Hang on. Where to put him? Put him down there, I think. Oh. Now, I love this pot, and it was so cheap when I bought it, and I really wish I'd have bought more, but you don't really know what they're going to be like when you see things online. It looks good, but then you get it and it's like, which is like the other one I'm going to get to in a minute. So this is my Monstera. So this pot has an insert And it has a wick also, which is an old tea towel. This is in semi-hydro, but can you see the difference in the size and the space that you're actually losing? Quite a lot of space, really. However, it has an indicator and it has a little, I don't know, cutout that you can put your water in. So you don't have to go through the top of the pot, which is one of the drawbacks of this. But that's fine. I just lift that up and put the water in there. And with this plant, there's never enough water. You cannot drown this plant. It just needs it. It needs a lot to live. So these are perfect. Anyway, this pot. Yeah, I love it. It's a lot of the space is taken up by the design of the pot. Whoops. As you can see, there's a lot of space gone. But other than that, it's a lovely pot. I love it. It is really nice. So yeah, that's great. That is a great one. The next one I bought as a set of 3, and it looked good on paper, but it's got no insert. I am going to put some more water in it. It comes with an indicator, and the indicator it fits into a tray which is on feet, so it's about that high, and there's a tray at the bottom, and the indicator fits in the tray, so that measures for that. Now I've just added some water in there. This plant was actually propagated in water, so if it's a little bit too deep, it's fine, but any other plant, it may be too deep. If I've removed a plant from soil and put it into semi-hydro, it could be too deep, and it would be a pain in the arse to check the water level inside. But because this has been it's been raised in water, that's all it knows is water, so I'm not too worried about that. But if that pot had a basket like the other 2, that would be a perfect pot for me. In every way it would be perfect, but as it is, it's not. So it looks the business, but for practical reasons, it's a no from me, unfortunately, with that one. Pains me to say it, but there was a pack of 3. I have used the trays in the bottom for another plant, which I will show you now. Now this plant here is my Monstera albo, and it's absolutely gorgeous. I love it so much. I'm just going to show you the tray that it's in. Okay, so that's the insert that is in with that other plant. So that's in the bottom of the pot. So because of the design of the pot, I decided to design my own, which is going to be better because I can lift it out. God, the bloody thing back in now. That brings me on to another self-watering pot system. which is what I've just shown you, basically. Make your own. I've got various types of self-watering pot, mainly because I use semi-hydro. This being one, so you can basically use any outer pot that you want. And you've got the reservoir in the bottom. There's a few tricks that you can use. So if you're using a wick, that is because that's in semi-hydro. That's nothing to do with soil. But if you wanted to use your own outer pot and a pot inside with a wick, you could, let me have a look. With this one, what I would do, if I wanted it in a self-watering system, I would put that wick inside the pot and put the soil around it and let that wick into a reservoir. For example, have I got anything? This is my self-made system. So I've got my lovely outer pot. This pot has a hole in the bottom. Oh no, what can I do? I don't want a hole in the bottom. I want a self-watering pot. So how am I supposed to make this work? Well, we improvise, don't we? There's all sorts of things that you can do. You can raise it up using yogurt pots underneath it, or any tubs at the kitchen. Turn them upside down and put your plant on that, and then use some sort of system underneath with watering. There's so many different ways that you can put these things into place. Let me show you something else. I'm just going to move my monstera, hang on. Okay, so I have another one to show you here. This is my string of hearts. Now, I always had trouble with this in compost. Always seemed to rot and never did very much at all. So I thought, you know what, I'm going to try it in semi-hydro. So I took cuttings off it and rooted them in water and just went for semi-hydro. So this one is in a wick. There's a wick there. The wick is going through it, running all the way around, and that just sits in that jug. This jug was from a car boot sale. It was £1. I love my jug. It's the best buy I've ever had from a car boot sale. I don't go to many, but I was very pleased with this one. Okay, this setup is one that I made myself. I'm quite proud of this one. Let me show you. Again, it's semi-hydro, but that's irrelevant. It's just the system that we're just going through, really. So this is my oxalis. And it is actually a storage box, a stackable storage box. So I measured this basket before I went to B&M, because I know they have all sorts of things that I could makeshift to make this oxalis look lovely. And I bought 2 of those. and it slots in very well indeed. So that's another system that you may be able to use, is just practicing with things. Just have a go. Just have a go with it. Be creative. When you're out shopping and you see containers or keep things, packages of food, and you think, oh yeah, that might come in for something, just keep it. The other thing, I don't know whether you've noticed, I don't actually, it may be on this one. No, it wasn't that one, it was a spider plant. Hang on. Let me just, make sure. Right, so you can see the pot that the spider plant is in. This was actually a Crusher milkshake bottle. I obviously took the label off it and put these holes in using a soldering iron. I mean, you could use a drill if you wanted to, that's fine, but it's so much easier with a soldering iron. It's a game changer, it really is, for making holes in plastic. So I would certainly recommend getting a soldering iron to make holes in your plastic plant pots. So yeah, be creative. Get your bottles, good strong bottles, and just make them into pots. Just cut them down and make them into pots. There's so many different options out there if you think outside the box and be creative. Just because your pot's got a hole in it doesn't mean you can't use it for a self-watering pot. It just means that you have to find another way. To every problem there's a solution. So that's my lowdown on self-watering systems. I hope that's helped.